Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a jolly good morning to you. This is Newsline, live as usual from Dawson Street, the Newsfirst studios right here in Colombo. And joining me this morning is Mr. Rusiripala Tenakun, former chairman of the Bank of Ceylon, and now, for want of a better word, a public interest activist. Mr. Rusiripala is deeply concerned on a number of matters that are taking place, especially in the financial industry of our country. And he says that the people's money is at risk as never before. Very good morning to you, Mr. Rusiripala.
Good morning, Faraz. Very nice to see you back after a long holiday.
Believe me, it was jolly hard work sending my daughter off to uni, but it's brilliant to be back. But also sad, because I see that corruption has not abated in the least. And, Mr. Rusiripala, 16, 17, 18 months ago, when we started reporting on the suspicions of what was happening at the central bank, the main element was that there was a clear potential and possibility for a conflict of interest situation. Dr. Rajata Senaratne said this, Champika Ranawaka said this, General Fonseca at the time General, and now Field Marshal, he said it. And indeed we are told that at the Cabinet, His Excellency the President also expressed his concern on the potential conflict of interest. They were all assured by no less than Ranil Wickremesinghe, the newly appointed, at the time, the third time round Prime Minister of this country. He assured them that it wouldn't happen, and that he would look after that. Has he been successful?
Well, the controversy for us, unfortunately, is continuing. And then it has become very bad now in the eyes of the public. With the information coming out or leaking into the public about the excessive huge profits that the alleged company, this perpetual trusts,
Perpetual treasuries,
have made in the course of this transaction. So I think the public are now are believing 100% of the comments that were made and the role that you all jointly played in exposing this matter from the beginning. And they, at that time, they had a lot of doubts about this. I think people thought whether this a thing like this could have ever happened.
Yeah.
But now, with the figures out, with the statistics out, and with in no less than the central bank itself, in some unofficial form yet, confirming that these profits have been huge, profits have been made. Now the people believe that what we have been talking is the truth and nothing but the truth.
And Mr. Rusiripala, this report that is supposed to be a draft board paper, which is available on the internet, and to which Vimal Weerawansa alluded to yesterday. In fact, he quoted from it yesterday. And he said some interesting things. But what astonished me was some ministers in the past, they said that when we raised these questions about the losses that was rolling on to the country, some ministers said, this is, for us, this is a notional loss. So I'd like to ask these same ministers whether the profits declared by perpetual treasuries of 5.2 billion, which is only not even 50% of the story, whether those profits are also notional profits. And is it notional profits that was used to purchase 10% of NDB Bank? And according to Vimal Weerawansa, the purchase of a newspaper to shape public opinion, or is it to shape the reputation of certain ministers and certain parliamentarians and certain business people? Is that what it is all about? Is it?
I think, referring to Vimal Veeravan sir, Honorable Vimal Veeravan sir, he also mentioned about the purchase of a helicopter.
Indeed.
So you see, now we can see how and where these monies are being utilized now.
Of course, there is no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have helicopters, so be it. But not at the expense of the public. Mr. Risipala, they say that they've made 5.2 billion. The leaked report, subject to its authenticity being confirmed, right? Subject to that, reveals that in March 2016, they participated, they bid, they being perpetual treasuries, bid for 40 to 44 billion
49.
worth of bonds.
Yes.
Now, the profit from that in April and May alone was a further 4.2 billion,
Exactly.
taking their figure very close or beyond the 10 billion rupee mark. And Mr. Risipala, for a young man who was supposed to be in the driving seat, either as a shadow director or as an effectively majority shareholder, for a young chap to do this without the help of officialdom, it's bordering the disbelief.
Definitely so, definitely so. I fully agree with you. Now the issue here is the publicized profits that they alleged to have been made, 5.1 billion, is only for the year ending 2015 March. The transaction that you referred to just now, that is 2016 bid that they went for, 49.4 billion they bid for.
Right.
In that on two occasions, 29th of March and 31st of March. And with that profit, their total profit bag is 11 billion. 11 billion. So it's a huge, unbelievable amount for a company that started their business. They came into operation in 2013 and they came into government securities business only in February 2014.
Correct.
Imagine, it is going beyond imagination how a company with very small capital has developed or grown into such a big giant profit maker in such a short time, and that is not possible without official sanction and official support.
And an official nod.
Yes.
The current governor of the central bank said that on the basis of a large profit alone is not a basis of investigation. How fair is that statement?
Very unfair, I should say. It is not the quantum of the profit that a particular company makes, but there is an industry. You know, this whole industry.
It's only limited to 16 primary dealers.
16 primary dealers. Of that, there are about 8 to 9 standalone primary dealers. That means they are companies virtually standing by themselves, not the banks, not the other financial institutions. So when you compare the performance of those standalone PDs with this particular company, I mean, this is an uncomparable situation. This can never happen. So this is where the central bank should be mindful of what to go into, find out what really has happened.
So, but Mr. Risipala, does the Prime Minister seriously expect that the people of this country are going to really believe that there is absolutely nothing wrong when the number 2 company within this 16 company industry makes a profit of 57 million rupees and that the number 1 company makes 5,200 million rupees profit? The disparity is so great. Is the Prime Minister testing the intelligence of the people of this country?
For us, it is definitely a position that all these people in the country should be concerned about these figures, about these statistics, and about what this company has made. It is not what the Prime Minister says. The Prime Minister appointed a committee into Parliament of 3 people to go into it. That very committee suggested that there should be a further investigation into it. Now the figures and the statistics available in the public domain have confirmed that situation, that it deserves to be investigated in no uncertain terms at the earliest possible time to tell the truth to the people of this country.
Why is it that COPE is dilly-dallying? I mean, if there's nothing to hide, why not agree to a robust investigation? What is it that they're hiding?
Unfortunately for us, it is where we see what a role that politics is playing very badly, where due to some majority position there in the COPE, I think they have suppressed the operation of the COPE. That is my frank opinion. I don't know whether I can justify this or substantiate this, but from what appears, how the COPE has been dilly-dallying this matter over a period of time. After the Auditor General of this country, Auditor General, he in writing gave a report to the Speaker of the Parliament, to the Chairman of the COPE, but nevertheless the matter rests, and people are waiting to see what is the outcome of this.
Surely the conscience of business people in this country must be aroused. For if let's examine this little company, and yes, it is a little company, they, according to that leaked report and subject to its authenticity, they've got 14 employees. 7 of them have got the primary dealer experience of over 5 years.
Yes.
That indicates to me that the other 7 were support staff. So be it. So 7 operational staff made a profit of 5.2 billion and rising, and we know that figure is not really true. It's closer to 10 or beyond.
Two matters for us.
So these other business people, they have risk. The other groups, they are employing in their thousands,
exactly,
and they're paying in their millions in taxes. Right? And they are standing back and looking at this and all this. And can they be happy? Can their conscience remain as it is?
Absolutely not for us. It is not only the business people. Let me come to the business people's concerns, their concerns a little later. See, this is something that has happened in the financial world. With the central bank of the country involved, and the whole world is looking at it, one hand, because this is a financial operation that is open to everybody in the world, rest of the world, central banks, the investors, the prospective investors, everybody. So they are looking at it. And from the point of view of our business people, I think they must be really discouraged to see when they are paying 3,000 to 4,000 employees salaries with so much of risk and with so much of high investments, risky investments at that, and their return nowhere can be compared to this return which this company has earned through manipulations.
That's what it
and
is.
Avoiding taxes or any payment to the state. And at whose cost? At the cost to the employees' provident fund and other financial institutions. In the end, you see who has lost? The workers of this country. Their hard-earned monies, their savings, their lifetime savings have been affected. It's a very, very serious thing. Anybody in authority should give the prime concern to that aspect. If they can forget everything else, they must give concern to that aspect, because the employees' provident fund is a fund that will keep us going, the workers of this country going for the rest of their life.
I think yesterday or the day before, we had some workers in the Kalutra district who were agitating because that plantation company, which was a subject of a takeover bid recently, they haven't been paid their gratuities. I'm told that you should pay it within 14 days or something like that. So it seems that there is this absolute disdain for the people's concerns and for the people's pockets by these people who these very people elected. And now that they've been elected, they seem to think that it's completely cricket to for want of a better word, to stuff them. Because it's their hard-earned money, as you say.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Rasipat, what can be done? What should COPE be doing?
I think we can't take sort of cover or sort of hide behind the fact that this is the report that is out with statistics and information.
And with so much of detail.
Yeah, with so much of details and accurate calculations. You see, we can't just regard this as an unpublicized report. The public of this country, the civil organizations, all those people must take strong notice of these contents of this report and make it public by themselves. You know, the FCID in the country is supposed to act on even an anonymous information given to them. Here is a bit of information that is circulating in the public, in the websites, being discussed in the media, being discussed in the papers, being discussed by parliamentarians. So the FCID should take an initiative on this matter. This is a fraud, according to what has been reported. So I don't know whether they are waiting to be given the order by somebody, okay, now you start, now you stop. I mean, if it is happening like that, we are sorry about that state of affairs.
Well, it's a little bit like waiting for Godot.
Yes.
I mean, Mr. Wickremesinghe waited like Godot for several years and several electoral defeats before, by the skin of his teeth, he was helped by this president to become the Prime Minister. So don't you think that he has a greater responsibility to the people of this country, not to his party coffers?
Yes, for two reasons. One is, the entire ambit of finance in this country is under the hands of the Prime Minister. Several ministries, when you see the network, how they have been connected, they are all connected to the Prime Ministerial Office. You know, the economic...
So this is a different take on the Rajapaksas. The Rajapaksas were supposed to have controlled 70% of this country's budget.
Yeah.
So here we have a system. But what you're saying makes some sense. We have the Ministry of Finance that is split into three ways. We have the Finance Minister is the Finance Minister, but we have Kabir Hashim in charge of state enterprise, and then the regulatory authority of governing the banks is with the Prime Minister.
Exactly.
Or in one of the other ministries. So, in a very Sri Lankan way, and for the benefit of our radio producer Sid, this is a complete mallu.
Definitely, particularly for the reason that the central bank is coming under the Minister of Finance, coming under the Prime Minister. I mean, the matter should be the responsibility of resolving this issue and attending to this matter falls squarely on the Prime Minister more than any other minister, because the central bank is coming under him.
And that is the very reason that he used to say that when the President went to the central bank, the Prime Minister rushed behind him, saying that as the Minister in charge of the subject, he should be there. How lovely for him to remember the niceties of protocol.
Whereas if you recall the various events that were involved in this incident, you know, there are very many strange things that have happened. Rather, hilarious, I should say, things that have happened. But now the time has come for not to ponder on those matters. Here is a situation where statistically proven details are available to the country of a huge misappropriation or misapplication of rights and principles. Here is a company that has made money on speculative grounds using the public money.
Yes.
You see, where have they borrowed? Let me explain you one thing.
Yeah.
In the instance where on this bond issue in March 2016, where they bid for 49 billion worth of bonds, they were short of 36 billion to settle that. Where did they find the money? From the central bank itself. From the central bank itself.
Mamai Banai.
My God. Now, if this facilitation is, it is an instance where it is a complete misuse of the right that is given by the central bank. These facilities, some of these facilities that have been made available to this company are very short time facilities that are meant for other purposes, to overcome the financial difficulties in a very short time, for a very short time, to fulfill your liquidity requirements. Here, the facility has been used for speculative purposes.
And Mr. Rispali, you're from a trade union background. What are the trade unions doing? Where are the protests? I saw the assistant teachers protesting yesterday, which meant that I had to get off the car and walk. Not too much of a distance, but I had to walk. So where are the protests? Is the public not so concerned?
Unfortunately, the lead should be taken by the banking sector trade unions. But I want to tell you one thing. The banking sector trade unions are connected to some internationals, where they have a membership in 90 odd countries, running up to 9 million. So I think those segments and sectors have been alerted. The authorities in the country who are trying to suppress this must keep in mind that this cannot be kept as a secret from the global scenario.
Absolutely. And when these ministers talk that it is just the media that's getting upset about this, that's all absolute rubbish. Because by these actions, by the actions of the February 2015 bond, when 1 became 10 and son-in-law got 5 billion, right? From that time onwards, the cost to this government, the cost to the people of borrowing has gone up. There is no notional about this. It's gone up. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. What is important to understand here is, there is some very important aspect that we must give concern. What is the whole idea of these bonds? For the government to get at the cheapest and the most reasonable rates the money required to run the country. Now here is a situation where that aspect has been completely made topsy-turvy. Instead of making the government to get the money required at a very affordable rate, reasonable rate, here is a situation where the authorities have given the opportunity for opportunist companies to make huge profits and make the funds available to the government at a cost.
But these are facilitated opportunities.
Definitely it is a facilitated opportunity. No, in this case, there should be many bodies to yielding authorities for perpetual treasuries to make this profit. Those yielding, now if a proper investigation is conducted, entire network will be exposed.
That's why they're avoiding the use of a forensic analysis of this whole thing.
Exactly. The Provident Fund, the Insurance Corporation, being the government bodies, those are the captive funds, and some banks, some other primary dealers who have acted in collaboration.
In concert.
In collaboration,
yeah,
with this company, have facilitated this operation.
Do you think it's sour grapes that people are yelling and screaming? Do you think it's sour grapes because this company made 5.2 billion and the next company along made 57 million? And do you think it's sour grapes that this company made 83% of the total profits made by the primary dealers? Do you think it's sour grapes? Is it unfair?
This is an exceptionally unbelievable situation, Faraz. Exceptionally unbelievable situation in a financial operation of the nature of these transactions in bonds. This has never happened. You put together the entire earnings and the capital growth of the standalone other PDs. I mean, this company by lens, they bypass that. They are exceeding that, which is not imaginable. This is not possible. This is where the responsibility of the central bank falls. The governor of the central bank must be clearly told, please look into this. By allowing things that happened in the past to continue as it is, as alleged by the trade unions there, as alleged by the employees who are working there, as alleged by the public. By allowing those things to continue as it is, he is not doing the job that he should do. I am afraid to say, with great respect to the new governor, because we don't want to...
Perhaps he's not being allowed to do it.
No, we don't want to cast any aspersions, in his role. But he must remember that he has a duty to perform by the country in a context where such a huge fraudulent activity has been exposed.
In the previous government, there was an ambience that the Rajapaksas appeared to believe that they were invincible. Do you think that that medical problem of thinking that one is invincible, do you think that has arrived on the shoulders of the Prime Minister and his team?
It's very unfortunate that such things come to play and then affect the masses and the country and the finances.
But the masses aren't going to. The masses aren't going to sit and watch, because they took enough and then they voted the way they voted.
Certainly not. Certainly not in a situation like this, because with the information that is available before them, it is shocking. It is shocking.
But isn't it shocking that? Isn't it shocking that all this inaction, these delays, isn't that the shocking part of it?
More shocking. It's more shocking.
It's
much
taken
more.
18 months.
Yes.
All the records, this is all white money. All the records, who bought what, from whom, and who made what, and who lost what, is all available at the central bank. And all it takes is to press a few buttons like that to get these reports out. Why, Mr. Rusipala, why on earth isn't it happening?
This is what is intriguing us, Banking industry is one industry where financial world is controlled and they expect a very high degree of, honesty and integrity in their operations. But here, the banker of the bankers,
integrity,
yes.
With all due respect,
yes,
with whatever respect there is, with all due respect, integrity flew out that big window at the central bank on the day that the former governor did not make sure that all primary dealers were informed that the bank was actually in business for 10 billion and not 1 billion. And it is very strange that his son-in-law and that company that's eventually controlled by them, made just over 5 billion of that.
That is where, thanks to the media in this country, thanks to the other workers who were very vigilant of what was happening in important places, that is where the news was broken, and then it came out, and then it became a public affair. From that day onwards, from the day that it was exposed, 1 became 10, and it was allowed to the son-in-law's company, and that company got 50% of the bonds that were allowed at a very high rate, highest rate that compared to all others. When that news broke out, I think that was the day that the media and the commentators, civic rights people, operation in this country did their job. And
on that note, Mr. Rusipala Tenukun, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We appreciate your concern, your thoughts, your presence. Take care. Join us again tomorrow. We'll have even more exciting news. Have a great day ahead. God bless.
Thank you very much. I look forward.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.